Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and I'm here with another Friday Reads. Just a quick personal update. I am still in this mystery relapse of my chronic illness, still spending most of my time on the couch, but I'm seeing small signs of improvement this week. I have been able to leave the house a couple of times for some appointments. So fingers crossed that things are going to get better. Luckily, no matter how sick I am, I can still enjoy my books, and I have really been enjoying reading this week. I'm fully into the R.I.P challenge, as well as the Fall Into Reading challenge, which is like a book bingo. And this one fits perfectly. The Falcon and the Owl by Maddie Dalrymple. Now, she is a local author and one of my favorites, it just so happens. So she lives nearby in Pennsylvania. I'm in Delaware. Delaware's like 12 miles across at this point, so at this northern point in the state. So Pennsylvania's very close. And I love how she incorporates the setting into all of her novels. But first things, I do not typically read many series, but I love this series. She writes several series. One, I think, is sort of straight up mystery. This is the Anne Kinnear suspense series. And the main character, Anne Kinnear, is a woman who can sense spirits. And so she very often ends up helping to solve some sort of mystery by seeing and talking to ghosts. I love this. I love the premise. I love the writing. I love the main characters. In this case, what happens is, you might be able to tell from the cover, there's a small plane crash. The two men who were killed in it were both excellent pilots. They crashed in a thickly forested area of north central Pennsylvania, and there's no apparent reason for their crash. Now, that's not actually the mystery. She gets hired by the business partner of one of the men who was in the crash. He hires her to find out where his partner left a signed contract. He had given it to his partner to sign. He's pretty sure his partner signed it, and then he died. And he can't find it anywhere in his office or his home. So he hires Anne to see if she can talk to this man who is dead, to find out where this contract is hidden. Now, what Anne doesn't know, but the reader knows, is that the contract is to sell the small regional airport that they all fly out of. And then there's one more main character, a woman named Gwen. She's actually the Falcon in the title. She's known as the Peregrine Falcon. She is an amazing pilot. She does air shows and air races, which I didn't know was a thing, all out of this small regional airport that's located like less than 10 miles from my house. So that's kind of cool. So Anne hires a guide and travels up to the crash site. The guide takes them, because this is really deep forest, the guide takes them through the woods into the crash site. The man who hired Anne comes along, and Anne doesn't find the business partner's spirit there at the crash site, but she does find the spirit of the other man. And from the conversation they have and what's going on, she starts to suspect that there might be some secrets involved in this situation. So that's sort of the setup. Like all of Maddie's novels, there are so many surprising twists. If you like twisty mysteries, this is a great series. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why I love it so much, but I love this whole thing about talking to ghosts and sensing spirits, and the way that Anne has made that her career. Bottom line, the Anne Kinnear series is a fabulous series. This is book 3 in the series, The Falcon and the Owl. The first 2 books, I should have brought those down with me to show you, The Sense of Death and The Sense of Reckoning. And so far, I have loved every one of them. And they don't all take place right here locally in southeastern Pennsylvania. The second one, The Sense of Reckoning, actually takes place on Mount Desert Island, where Acadia National Park is, which happens to be one of my favorite places in the world. So Maddie always makes the setting a part of the story, and I love that. So I highly recommend the Anne Kinnear series by Maddie Dalrymple. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I've got like 3 pages left. 2 pages, I think. I was reading it in the waiting room at the doctor's office. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and I ended up having to wait an hour. So I'm almost finished. That's why I left 2 pages, because the doctor called me in. So I will be finishing that today. Now, I think I am also just about finished with my audiobook. I've been listening to The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. Now, this is the first of his adult novels that I've read. He's very well known for the Alex Rider series, a YA series. I think it's YA, it might be middle grade, but it's about a teenage spy. Apparently, I'm learning from this book that he is also a screenwriter and has been involved in movies and TV. This series of books is a little unusual in that he puts himself as one of the main characters in this fictional novel. So at the start of the novel, and I think this is the first in this series, he is hired by a retired detective who still does some consulting work for the police in London. And he's hired by him to write kind of a true crime book about his latest case. So this guy is he doesn't talk a lot. He's very reticent. He's kind of a hard guy to get to know. The reason he knew Anthony was because he had been a consultant on one of the detective TV shows that Anthony Horowitz had written in real life. So the TV show is real life. I'm guessing this detective is not. So it's very weird, but fun, the way he's put himself into the middle of the book. So the premise is that this detective has hired this writer, who is Anthony Horowitz, to follow him around and write about his current case. He's helping the police with a new murder, a recent murder. And the weird thing about this particular murder is that the woman who was murdered walked into a funeral home out of the blue 6 hours before her murder and set up and paid for her own funeral. So that's what makes this especially unique and interesting. So the 2 of them are going all over London, talking to witnesses and potential suspects, trying to piece together what happened, looking into the woman's past, solving the mystery, basically. But as they go, it's all from Anthony's perspective, and he's trying to get this detective to open up and tell him more. He keeps telling him, if this book is about you, I need to know more about you. But the detective isn't very forthcoming. And they've got kind of a Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson vibe going on here. The detective often figures things out and doesn't even explain it to Horowitz. So it's kind of a classic mystery detective story, but with this interesting twist, with the writer being a part of the story. I've really been enjoying it. The reason I think I'm almost finished with it, even though it's audio, is that they've just revealed who the killer was, And they're getting into kind of the what really happened exposition that's usually at the end of a crime novel. So I'm pretty sure I'm close to the end of that as well. But I've really enjoyed The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. And I said I don't read a lot of series, but I would listen to another one of these. They're good. And that's what I am currently reading. Obviously, I'm going to need to start some new books this weekend. I'd love to hear what you're reading this weekend. Let me know in the comments down below.